it develops a little blow.
The elephant in the room becomes elementary wounds. The elephant in the room becomes elementary wounds. The elephant in the room becomes elementary wounds. The elephant in the room.
Hey yo, riding around town just to pump the new shit. Stereo, stereo, drop the music. And hits a little thing you can pop into it. But put your head down when the cops are cruising. Yo, hey, this the shit that I live with. Hey, crucifix in my kitchen. Hey, broke your shit but can't fix it. And y'all bitchin', cause y'all can't handle me. But I don't wanna be another American as arrogant as I seem. But I don't wanna change, so I guess I'll take the blame. I'm just an erotic product of erotica riding out my brain.
YouTube family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A and LA, and as always, fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. Don't take it as fact. Don't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, fam, I should go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. Come on in. You can join the congregation by smashing that subscribe button and requesting all post notifications. And if you are an existing supporter of this channel, fam, I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. You are the reason this channel is anything. Alright, fam, before we get this episode rolling, just a couple of disclaimers. I do not sell firearms, nor do I promote the sale of firearms or accessories or anything that would constitute a violation of YouTube community guidelines. Any reviews that I do on firearms or accessories are just that. They are for review purposes only. And if I reference the gun manufacturer or the company that happened to supply the product, I am just referencing that for disclosure purposes. All right? Now, fam, look. If you are not a member of the 2A in LA fam club, I do not know what you are doing at this point in time. As a member of the fan club, you receive unreleased content. You'll receive content early. You become automatically eligible for all the giveaways that we do in our bi-weekly live streams, fam. Look. I believe I offer some of the best giveaway opportunities on YouTube. So make sure you're a member of the fam club. It's only $2.99 a month. Just click on that join button down below. And if you are interested in any of the 2A NLA merchandise, just hit that QR code in the corner. You see it. You see it right there. That will take you to the 2A NLA channel. Also, you can sign up to participate in a lot of our giveaways there. So make sure you hit that QR code. All right, that's it. Now let's get back into the episode. All right, fam, let's get this episode rolling. Look, fam, look. Better late to the party than not coming to the party at all, I say. So look, fam, I've been familiar with Stealth Arms for a long time. Really, kind of when the gun first dropped. My guy RGG had a very good relationship with him. I had the opportunity to shoot the Platypus on multiple occasions. I've always said that the gun is a very good shooter. I thought for the price, it was a well done gun. I love the fact that you could design the gun any way you wanted to with their website. Now, I'll say this, that the problem with that is not all people have good taste, and I have seen some terrible looking designs. Some people should not be allowed to do their own designs because, woo. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so I've always felt it was a solid pistol for the price point. They have come back and they've added additional options for the gun. They've gradually improved it. You know, now you can get aluminum grip modules, you can get a threaded barrel, you can get this, you can get that. So they've gradually gotten better and better. That price is gradually going up higher and higher, but I still say solid firearm. So shout out to 2A Zone for sending this gun out to the channel for review. Fam, I can't tell you how many people have asked me to review the Platypus over the years, and I just haven't done it because, like I said, it's been a challenge to get one in my hands. But I've always told people I've had a lot of experience with them. at SHOT Show and other places, other venues, and I've shot the gun, like I said, multiple times. So I was a fan of the gun. So, but now we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty of the review. If you haven't seen the 2A NLA review, kind of works like this: 0 is hot garbage, 100 is the best in the history of the world. Never had a gun get a 0, never had a gun get 100. One can always hold out hope though. If you got something 50 and 60, that's right down the middle. Think Glock 17 Gen 5 MOS, gonna go bang every time, reliable, just no real feels or thrills, right? If you got something kind of 60 to 70, okay, maybe that gun has a feature or two that distinguish it from the mean. If you got something kind of 70 to 80, okay, that gun has multiple features or qualities that really make it stand out in the crowd. If you got something 80 to 89, now you're kind of talking best in class gun, especially if you're kind of 85 to 89. And if you've got something 90 or above, that's grill gun status. All right, fam, look, let's start off fit and finish. I think the gun is well done. I will go ahead and I will put the specs up there for you. I will also say that one of the things that we should keep in mind with this particular firearm is that what you get very much depends on how you order the gun. Now, if you just happen to walk into a store like 2A Zone and just buy one off the shelf, that's cool. But a lot of people order their gun, and so you can decide. You want full dust cover, don't want a full dust cover. You want a polymer grip or you want an aluminum grip. You want threaded barrel, don't want threaded barrel. You want it ported, you want it non-ported. So there's a lot of options that you have relative to the gun. So I don't want to speak specifically just on this gun, but I'll kind of speak to the fit and finish of the gun kind of all the way around. The gun is well machined, it's well done. Like I said, I know so many people that own them. I've shot them multiple times. I feel confident in having a relatively large sample size. You know, sometimes I'll get a gun and it's one of one. It's the only gun I've ever handled. It's the only gun I've ever shot. Now, I've probably shot, I don't know, 10, 15 different platypuses, either friends who own them or at different events or whatnot. So, and I have friends who have had them now for over 2 years and have put thousands and thousands of rounds through them. So, relatively confident about the fit and finish of the gun. Now, look, this is not a mid-tier or a high-end firearm. But for the price point, and the price point, I should also say, varies depending on what you get. Maybe from as low as $2,400 to as much as $2,700, $2,800, depending on the features. But fit and finish, I think it's solid. We're going to give it a 12 out of a possible 15 for fit and finish. Next up, reliability. Put close to 1,000 rounds through this one. Didn't really have any hiccups. I had a couple of times where I had to tap it to get it back in batteries. It kind of wore in, oiled the gun up, and then very, very solid after that. Also, like I said, I've shot the gun multiple times at various range days. I've sat and watched, you know, hundreds and hundreds of rounds be put through the guns. They're very reliable guns. I'm going to give it for reliability a 13 out of a possible 15. All right, fam. Next up, durability. I think the gun is a durable gun. Again, it depends on the features in which you order it. I think that the coatings are well done. I've shot, like I said, close to 1,000 rounds, if not a little over 1,000, and nowhere showing anywhere on the guns. I have friends who own these who have tens of thousands of rounds to it and have said similar things, that the coating holds up well, as well as do the internal and external parts. So again, for durability, we're going to give it a 13 out of a possible 15. All right, fam. Next up, trigger. Let's take a look at it. Almost zero take up. I mean, you're right at that wall. Crisp, clean break. I'll go ahead and I'll put the trigger weight up there. The reset, short reset. Look, well done. Well done trigger, particularly considering the price point. And so is it an Atlas trigger? Is it an Infinity trigger? I wouldn't say that, but it's a well done trigger. Better than most at the price point. So for trigger, we're going to give it a 12 out of a possible 15. All right, fam. Next up, accuracy. Look, as you can see, I didn't, although it's red dot ready, I didn't add a red dot to it. Comes RMR cut, and you may have some other options. I should also mention this gun has Glock magazines, but now you can also order them with 320 magazines if you like. And so 5-inch barrel, full size gun. I found the gun to be very accurate. I mentioned the fact that it doesn't have a red dot, so I shot it iron sight. So accuracy is going to be more so dependent upon shooter skill than when there is a red dot. That said, I shot the gun very accurately. If I have any footage, I'll put it up there, but went to about 15 yards or so and got a relatively tight group, probably 2.5 inches, maybe 3 with iron sights, which is not bad in my book. I should also add that not only was I shooting this gun, I took this out on a range day with a few other guns, right? Not only was this the only gun that didn't have a red dot on it, it was also the only gun that was not ported and or compensated, right? And so shooting a non-ported iron sight gun when I'm shooting a bunch of full-size compensated and ported guns, I could definitely tell the difference. When I talk about accuracy, though, I'm not just talking about barrel accuracy. I'm talking about how flat the gun shoots. How does it handle under higher rates of speed? I would say compared to like a compensated gun, yeah, there's a lot more muzzle rise to this gun. That said, I thought it was accurate. I thought the shootability was just fine. If you're getting the non-ported version, I would just say that if you're planning on shooting at higher rates of speed, if you're the kind of guy that is just shooting this at an indoor range at, very slow speeds, yeah, you're going to be very impressed with the accuracy. I don't think the deviation doesn't start up until you're shooting at higher rates of speed from greater distances, etc. But overall, I still thought it was a pretty accurate gun. For accuracy, we're going to give it a 9 out of a possible 10. All right, fam. Next up, ergonomics. I found the gun to be very well done. I found the stippling to be well done, good texture. I'm not a huge fan of the Glock grip angle. This one doesn't feel, though, as extreme to me as some of the other Glock-based 2011s. So from that perspective, it was good. I found the gun was weighted nicely, although a little back end heavy. I would, if this were my gun and not just a gun that I was reviewing, I would definitely run a light out front to add some additional weight on it. I think that would make a lot of sense. But ergonomics, I thought the gun was fine. For ergonomics, we're going to give it a 7 out of a possible 10. All right, fam, these next two categories, we're going to kind of lump them together. Aftermarket support and maintenance and upkeep. Look, tons of aftermarket support for the 2011 market out there. If you've seen what people have done to platypuses, there is literally nothing that is beyond the pale. And so we're going to give it a 4 out of 5 there. Maintenance and upkeep again. 2011 style pistol, right? You want to break it down every 1,000 rounds or so, keep it clean, and then the gun will be reliable. So we're going to give it a 4 out of 5 for maintenance and upkeep, 4 out of 5 for aftermarket support. All right, fam, next up, affordability. Again, I'll put the MSRP up for the gun as you see it here, but no, this is going to kind of be the higher end of the range. Like I said, I think now they're kind of running kind of $1,400 on the low end to like $2,800 or so on the high end, just depending on the features and the specs that you choose. This is not an inexpensive gun, But yet I think if you want a Stealth Arms Platypus, most people will find the gun in reach. And so consequently, for affordability, we're going to give this gun a 4 out of possible 5. Alright fam, next up, Flex. Look, I think it's an attractive looking gun. I think it's well done. I think platypuses out of the box aesthetics vary, right? Like, how did you spec out your gun? What were your color combinations? A lot of those things will affect how flexy the gun is. But one thing I like about doing this one, where it's just plain all black, there's nothing to get us sidetracked. Kind of the aesthetic of the gun is how it was intended by the manufacturer, right? And I think it's a good looking gun. And I think out of the box, the Flex score doesn't overwhelm you, but this gun can be made to be much more than you see right now. So out of the box for Flex, we're going to give it a 2 out of a possible 5. Alright fam, if you add all of that up, you get an 80 out of a possible 100. I told you, kind of when you get to the 80 to 89, you're starting to get close to best in class. Now, really more 85 to 89, but the fact that this gun at this price point got into the 80s, I think says something about the quality of the gun. I think there are things that you can do to it to take it up a notch or two. I think you can get that trigger fine-tuned a little bit more. I think certainly aesthetically you can do things to it. I think porting the gun would really make a difference, because I felt like it's so back end weighted that porting would go a long way to enhance the shootability of the gun. No reason this gun couldn't get an 83 or an 84 with the right modification. So look fam, I finally did it. I finally showed up at the party and got a review done for the Stealth Arms Platypus. Hopefully it was worth the wait. Yeah, I like the Platypus. I like the fact that they're continuing to evolve it. I'm anxious to see where Stealth Arms goes from here. You know, sky's the limit relative to that. Do they stay with the Platypus lineup? I love the fact now that not just Glock-Mags, you can get it done, and P320 mags. And again, they always had the ability to change the colorway and add additional features. So looking forward to see what Stealth Arms brings to the table down the line. All right, that's it for this episode, fam. Until next time, as always, take care of one another and peace.